Jarrett?
Yeah, 2 R's, 2 T's. So before we get...
You're not the guy from Subway, are you?
No, geez, that guy's ruined my life.
That guy really fucked up.
It's simple. I have a case. It's filled with hundreds of postcards. On the back of each postcard, I've written topics. We pull these cards at random, and then we talk. If you had to put your saddle on one of these horses, which one do you put it on?
Oh, I'm for Bernie. I'm for Bernie because I want to see you in the White House. Bernie's a hard one to know. He's really a socialist. I've never respected a socialist from Vermont.
Have you known many socialists from Vermont?
No, there aren't many in Vermont. Bernie has been, remember, a senator since Christ was a cowboy. And so for Bernie to say he's an outsider is just ridiculous. This could be a very important call for the Kingster.
You check that call.
It's not. Oh, it is. It is. Jesus Christ.
Take it.
Hello. Call me anytime, okay? I'm on call 24 hours a day. Okay, all right. Secret project.
Not that secret anymore.
Well, it's kind of still.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right, well, we're about to dive into the meat and potatoes here of this interview.
Yes.
Which is these cards. But before
Wait a minute. I am not gay.
Just for the record.
I am not gay. I like it here. Okay.
Bill Clinton, a good friend of yours.
Yeah, Bill is, and W is. I'm the only man who slept at the White House under 2 presidents.
When you sleep at the White House, what do you do in the White House when you're finally, they close those doors and you're alone in that room? Or do you walk around?
I think Donald can win this thing. I mean, it could well be that Donald Trump, coming from this ridiculous reality series, will get a shitload of votes from blacks and Hispanics. That's my theory that no one has mentioned. Now, this might be racist. I hope it is. But the point I'm making is that is 20, 30% of blacks and Hispanics that like the guy because they've seen him on TV. And frankly, I think the point's being made every day. This thing about using the word pussy, and the Washington Post goes to this big edit. I mean, with every fucking thing that's wrong in the world today, John Kerry is a creature sent from outer space to try our patience. That's what I think he is.
How's he doing with you?
He is, I was already pretty down on him. Anybody who, you can marry one fabulously rich woman, but marrying 2 of them is a sign of real weakness in a man. Kerry really is a fool, God bless him. Once I was urinating off a balcony in Nashville, many years ago, right off Music Row, and the police came and the cop drew his gun and was shouting. So they took me down to the station, and there was a woman, real pretty, a little older than I was. She was somebody's wife. She was an alcoholic. She'd been arrested for shoplifting or something. She was crying. And her husband was coming to get her. Right after that, I wrote Sold American about that woman. Kind of, yeah.
Peeing off a balcony is kind of fun, though.
Peeing off a balcony is a normal human activity. And I think people who do it, it puts us in touch with the world, like reality TV.
I'll say this. If given the opportunity, I'll go out in the backyard and pee just because I think it's more fun.
And it's great. Well, that's why we love Texas. You can do it. It's easy. It's expected. It's the norm. Here, it's a big deal. Here, now Australia is very loose about it. But you come to America, you try that. And if you get arrested, boy, it's the beginning of the end for you.
That's right. You can almost go down as a sex offender for peeing outside.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's why I keep it to the backyard with the dog. I figured if he can do it, I can do it.
Well, nostril hair there.
Well, let's dive into these cards here. That's what we do. We got topics on these. I'm going to pull one out.
Good.
All right. Well, this card is death, and my question is, do you think about death?
My own death, yeah. Yeah, I kind of. Well, my shrink is Willie Nelson, and he's given me 3 pieces of advice that I'm following. One is don't get married. Now, I've waited this long. I'm 71 years old, though I read at the 73-year-old level. So I'm not the fuck was I talking about? See, this is
Willie Nelson and his 3 pieces of advice.
Willie also advises me that if I've spent a lot of money in Vegas on gambling, on just playing the slots, which is what I play. Willie says I should mortgage the ranch, sell the house, do whatever I can, move to Las Vegas and play the slots. He said, that's what I want to do, that's what I need to do, and that's what I should be doing. That's what I like to do.
I love Willie, but that kind of sounds like shitty advice.
No, it sounds like very unique, unusual. It's worked for him. That doesn't mean that it'll work for everybody.
Didn't he go bankrupt?
Oh, yeah. He's done everything. I mean, but Willie would sure as hell do it himself if he liked to play the slots. He wouldn't listen to a guy like you saying, oh, better stay away from Vegas now. Now the third piece of advice he gave me has to do with Atlanta, just incidentally. I told Willie 6 months ago that I was watching Matlock on TV every night, watching reruns of Matlock. And he says, that's very bad. He also says, if you fail at something long enough, you become a legend. And this I've really taken to heart because I see it happening for me. It happened for a lot of people.
What do you fail at?
I fail at everything I've tried. I'm very much like Churchill and John Lennon in that regard, in that both men consider themselves failures towards the end of their lives. Lennon was absolutely convinced that McCartney was the genius, then Yoko was the genius, and he was just riding along for the ride. He didn't realize, that he would be regarded by any sane person really as the father, the founder of the Beatles. Yeah.
What's your take on Yoko?
Neutral.
Neutral?
Yeah, I mean, she's fine. Yeah, I mean, I don't think did she break up the Beatles for me? I don't know. I know I've seen the Beatles show in Vegas about 7 times. It's great.
The Cirque du Soleil show?
Yeah. I thought it would be a bunch of homosexuals doing backflips to Beatle music. It's not. It's a great show, and it reminds you. I think that the Beatles have a greatness beyond nostalgia. Some of it is nostalgia, but not like the Rolling Stones. The Rolling Stones concerts are total nostalgia today. The thing I think he'll be remembered for, his true legacy, is taking selfies at Mandela's funeral. I think that's pretty much the man. Anybody can make a mistake.
Did that rub you the wrong way?
Didn't just rub me the wrong way. It just convinced me of who he is. There he is laughing and laughingly taking one within it. People express their grief differently, but this wasn't grief. This was Obama realizing that Mandela was a great man. We don't say it about many. Here's a great man. He is just a petty man. He's a petty little politician, and the day he gets out of office, he will not have changed at all from the guy who got into office. There won't be any difference.
Well, the card was death. So my question is, how do you want people to grieve you many, many, many years from now? How do you want people to celebrate your life?
I don't give a flying fuck. If you're a happy, well-adjusted person, you can forget being an artist. I've said an artist is anyone who's ahead of his time and behind on his rent. But it's also a miserable person. You have got to be miserable. Now, to be a struggling songwriter is a beautiful thing. And all of the great stuff is produced by struggling songwriters, not by committees. That's why the music coming out of Nashville today, you'll hear Taylor Swift, you don't know if it's Beyonce or it all sounds the same. It sounds like background music for a frat party. Everything's written by a committee. They got click tracks to keep everything perfectly in sync. And way overproduced. And the album we made, and interestingly enough, the record Loneliest Man Ever Met continues to sell. And it's selling not at the clip of that motherfucker from Canada. What's his name?
Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber. The one thing about the King Straw, I never like to say fuck in front of a C-H-I-L-D. But motherfucker, I think is all right. It's a good one.
Do you think you'll run for office again?
I really kind of doubt it. I think JFK's dream, the guys like you and me, all of us get into politics, was a beauty. I don't know what if JFK had anything to do with you joining the Peace Corps, but it certainly did to me and to Bill Clinton and to millions of our generation. That's inspiration. He might have been fucking everything that moved. He might have been who knows what else. There may have been very little legislation passed under JFK. He inspired millions of young people to want to work for 11 cents an hour in the jungle and to appreciate what we were doing, and it's still probably the best thing I ever did.
Would you do it again?
Yeah. You are not a serial killer. I almost know it by the way you look and by your behavior. If you were more charming, Jarrett, this is not any knock on you. I'm just saying, if you were really charming, that would be a major red flag.
Okay.
Because virtually every one of those motherfuckers that's a serial killer or a mass killer follows the Ted Bundy
he was charming as hell.
template. Yes, that's what I'm trying to tell you. That and also has not been researched, the name Wayne. The father names Jarrett Wayne. Throws that name in there because he wants you to be like John Wayne. And when you grow up and you become a television guy or a more, he's really fucking bitterly disappointed, and it festers in you because your father's very disappointed in you because you didn't live up to the name Wayne. You're not a great, tough Navy SEAL or whatever the fuck he wants you to be. So he really thinks you're a pussy.
Which is fairly accurate.
Which fairly accurate. I'm also mildly psychic. And it also makes you fester with that shit, and you are angry because you think you're living your life normally, and then you go crazy and you go out and kill people. And I know Jarrett would never kill anybody. He was harmless. He might urinate outdoors. He might be a peeping Tom.
Now, hold on. I'm not a peeping Tom. I just pee outdoors.
All right, he pees outdoors. But I would know that leave this guy, you've got the wrong guy, if that's who you're looking for. And he's a nice, affable, amiable, intelligent guy. But charm is not his super long suit. And, if it were, I would really be careful if he's peeing outdoors or if he's doing something like that. I would say, yeah, maybe this guy could.
But not yet.
Yeah.
Quickly give me your favorite story with Willie Nelson.
Willie and I traveled a lot together. I wish I'd travel more with him. And to do it at 83 years old, he's bulletproof, And Willie, I knew, had three hobbies: music, drugs, and golf. And I never myself played golf. I mean, I played with Willie if you're just fucking around. I rode around drunk on the golf cart. But in fact, the only two, I find golf stultifyingly dull, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And the only two good balls I ever hit was when I stepped on the garden rake.
So you're golfing with Willie.
All right, so this woman, came off of the golf course, and she was, I think we were in the pro shop. This woman comes off, it's Willie's golf course outside of Austin. And she said she was complaining that she'd been stung by a bee. And the golf pro asked her, where did it sting you? And she says, between the first and second holes. And the golf pro says, well, I can tell you right now, your stance is too wide. It's the 26 parts of the male anatomy that do not work. There's 20 nails that won't nail. There's one belly button that won't button. There's 2 teats that won't produce milk. There's 2 balls that won't bounce. And there's 1 cock that won't crow. And what are you smiling at, lady? You got a pussy that won't chase mice. That is genius, don't you think? And I like to work without a net, so I run it even though I know the women are not going to like it. And most of the men won't acknowledge that they do think it's pretty brilliant. A few women will. And those are the ones the Kingster likes. Those ones I pursue. Call them about.
Do you like the ladies?
I call them about every half hour on the half hour. No, I'm rather an aggressive homosexual. Why do you ask? I want to light this motherfucker. Thanks for the cigars, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.